What is going on, everybody? Back at it again with another YouTube video. And today, I want to do something a little different. I want to start a new series on my channel. Obviously, on Mondays, I'm doing a podcast every Monday called 4 Weekly Review, where I really just go over what has happened in the past 7 days in Philadelphia sports. With this whole quarantine thing going on and there's no sports going on, it's getting a little harder and harder to make videos. And, the channel's really growing and I'm getting a lot more views than I usually have. So I really wanted to, make my channel better and get more, active with you guys. And, get more comments down below and just have an opinion-based video to where I just talk Philly sports, kind of like you're in like a bar or you're just hanging out with your friends and you just wanted to get a discussion going on about Philly sports. So that's what I'm going to do every Thursday. I'm going to make this kind of like a top 15 Thursday. So every Thursday, expect some of these videos. This Thursday, I will be talking about my opinionated top 15 Philadelphia athletes. Now, I was going to make it a top 10, but my God, it was almost impossible to leave it at 10. So I made it out to 15, and even that was a struggle. I'm still debating on, who I would want at the bottom of the list. We have a lot of great athletes in Philadelphia. Our teams might not, show it sometimes, but we really do have a lot of great athletes in this city, and that's what I wanted to touch base on today. It gets very, discussionable at 15 to around 7 or 8, I would say. And even my honorable mentions are a little bit, worthy of talking about. And, this is on my opinion. I had a couple of my friends help just to make sure, I wasn't missing anybody or I wasn't, putting anybody a little bit too high just because of favoritism. So, honorable mentions. Oh, and by the way, I'm going off of opinions, and I'm also going off of how I think they played last season. So I'm going off of their stats from last season, either the season they're currently in or with the Eagles and the Phillies the last season. So with the honorable mentions, I got Darius Slay, just because in 2019 he had somewhat of a down year for, himself, and he also wasn't an Eagle, so I didn't really watch, him play all that much. I saw him play against us, at the link, but it was completely different. I wasn't really, I was really just watching our offense move. I wasn't watching Darius Slay as much as, I will be this season. Honorable mention number 2, Kevin Hayes. Kevin Hayes has been a great piece to this Flyers team. On the second line with Konechny and Lawton, they have done a great job, that second line. I just think that Kevin Hayes, the reason why he's an honorable mention right now is because he's only been here for 1 season, and I want to see if he can do it more. I want to see if he can contribute to the team as much as he's doing now, but in more ways. I just want to see him more. So right now, he'd probably be around 16-ish in my list, 17-ish. This was a tough one. And the next one after this is even tougher because I don't even have it written down yet. I'm still going over my thoughts, my opinion in my own head. It's just that hard. So this one was really, he struggled tremendously last season, to the point where it was almost unplayable. And I know he has a lot of upside and potential, and I think he's going to be a very solid, good first baseman for the Phillies in the long run. And I'm talking about Rhys Hoskins. I like Rhys. I think he's a great young player. He's only 26 years old. I think just last season he had a very rough second half, a terrible, tremendous second half of the season. And I need him to prove me wrong on why I don't think he's a top 15 Philadelphia athlete, and I think he's in the top 20. But I don't think I think he's like 16 or 17 out right now. But I don't think right now I can give him the nod at 15 just because of guys that, are the guys who are on this list have been a consistently good player. They have been consistently good players, or they're just great, or they're just like the best at their positions. And this one, it still bugs me. So the last honorable mention spot is between Aaron Nola and Jason Kelce. Nola didn't have the greatest season last year. He struggled towards the end like he has years prior. But Kelce just, you could see him kind of getting older as the season went on. But Kelce has done so much for this city. And obviously he's a Super Bowl champion, and Nola hasn't even been to the playoffs. And I'm not necessarily blaming it on him. You can't. We really had nobody around this team to help him. And now we have a good lineup now. But I think at 16 I'm going to give it to Kelce. I think I'm going to put Kelce right outside the top 15. But it's like a 15A, 15B type of thing. Like, Jason Kelce's still a great athlete, but he's an offensive lineman. He's a center. He's 32 years old. He's done a lot of great things for the city. But I just think Aaron Nola's upside, his potential, and even though he did struggle last season, I still think he's one of the best pitchers in the National League. And he finished second in Cy Young 2 years ago for a reason. So I'm gonna put Kelce at 16, and I'm gonna put Aaron Nola as the 15th best athlete in Philadelphia. My opinion. I think that's gonna be my final answer for 15. It's still blank on my sheet right now. So I think I'm gonna go 15 Aaron Nola. 14, I gotta give the kid props. He's an absolute stud. Stud. The kid is a stud. And do you hear that? Is that Carter Hart? It's Carter Hart. Carter Hart has been an absolute stud all season long. Yes, he struggles on the road, but if we've learned one thing from Philadelphia teams, we suck on the road. It's just that simple. We can't win road games. And, the kid's only 21, 22 years old. He's still very young. And the fact that he's changed the culture of Flyers hockey already, I think he's an unbelievable talent. I think we finally found the goalie of the future. He's a stud. He's a great young goaltender in this league, and I think he's going to bring Stanley Cups to this city for years. So at 14, I have Carter Hart, Flyers goalie. I mean, if you don't know who Carter Hart is, you're probably living under a rock. The kid is a stud. He's a special talent in the NHL, and the Flyers really picked well when they drafted Carter Hart. At 13, I have tackle Lane Johnson. Lane Johnson is probably the best right tackle in football. I would think so. And even though he did get injured last season, he was still great when he was playing. And he has the dog mentality. He wants to win. I love his energy when it comes to the rivalry with the Dallas Cowboys. I absolutely love it. And, Lane Johnson has done, like, any team would kill for a Lane Johnson type of player. He's just he's a beast when it comes to the offensive line. He doesn't allow any sacks. He always protects Wentz no matter what. And that's why, leaving Kelce off this list was so hard because of how good these players are, like how good the offensive linemen are. and they just don't get enough respect. That's why I had to make it to 15, because none of the offensive linemen made it to my top 10, but they easily could have. I just think this season, the Flyers have really taken a leap, and that's why there's some Flyers players that are in there now that they weren't there last year. So at 13, I have Lane Johnson. 12, I have a guy that has been a consistently good player in this city. He signed a massive contract outside last season with the Sixers. And, I got to give the nod 12th to Tobias Harris. Yes, the Sixers were struggling very badly. They were just awful on the road right before the season, stopped for the time being. But I think Tobias Harris has done enough to be in the top 12, maybe even in the top 10 at times. So Tobias is a consistently average, not consistently average. He's a consistently good basketball player. He averages around 20, 19, 18 points a game for the Sixers. He can, get you a bucket. He's a good three-point shooter. He's a good mid-range. He can drive. I'm definitely giving Tobias the 12th spot. Number 11, maybe arguably the best offensive lineman in football, right guard Brandon Brooks. I think Brandon Brooks is one of the most underrated Philadelphia athletes there are. He's a very, you very rarely hear from him. I think he's one of the greatest at his position right now, if not the greatest. I think he's an absolute stud at what he does, and he definitely deserved that contract that we gave him, the contract extension. He definitely deserved it. That right side of the line is filthy. You have Kelsey in the middle, and then Brooks and Johnson. You really can't get much better than that on the right side of the line. The left side of the line right now, it's obviously struggling a little bit, but I'm sure Howie has some stuff up his sleeve, some tricks, some magic. He'll pull a rabbit out of the hat or something like that. But in the 11th spot, I have Brandon Brooks just missing the top 10. Just missing it. Now we get into the top 10. The 10th player on my list is a first-year All-Star, and that is winger Travis Konechny. I think Konechny has been playing out of his mind lately. I think he's a very good player. We just signed him to another 6 years. I can't wait to watch him for the next 6 years. And when that 6 years is up, we're going to give him another contract. You have to. He's that good of a hockey player. And, he's very good at what he does. And that's, scoring, assisting. He's always getting the puck where you need it to be. At number 9, I have Sean Couturier. The reason why I have Couturier over Konechny, even though he's not an all-star, I think Couturier does a little bit more for the Flyers than Konechny has done, and he's been doing it longer. He wears the A on his chest for a reason. I mean, Sean Couturier was up there with the Selke Trophy winners for this season. Obviously, Patrice Bergeron probably would have won it just because he always wins it. But Coots was a very... He's been playing great. He's a big reason for the Flyers' success this season. And, he definitely deserves that 9th spot. Coming in at number 8 was a little bit tough for me to put him, this kind of low on the list. But I got to put Zach Ertz at number 8. He didn't have the greatest of seasons last year. I will say that. Obviously, the year before that, he was breaking records with Wentz. He was catching everything. Not that he didn't this year, but he just didn't. He had a great season, don't get me wrong, but he didn't have as good as a season as he did the year prior to that. And I think the 7 athletes in front of him are playing better in their respected sports and at their respected positions than he did last season, because I think Kelsey and Kittle could both be better than Ertz. But I think after Ertz in the top 3 tight ends, I think it's a huge drop off from Ertz to guys like Austin Hooper and Jared Cooks, and like guys like Delaney Walker who really can't even stay on the field. But I think there's a huge drop off from Zach Ertz to the 4th and 5th tight ends in the league. And I think I don't really know what's going to happen with Ertz because there's been a lot of speculation with trading him and getting a pick for him or something like that. But right now, he's my number 8th best athlete in Philadelphia. He has done so much for the city, whether it's, giving up money or not giving up, donating money, or just his play on the field is absolutely amazing. And he's a great player to have on this team. And, the Eagles really, really, love to have him, and Philadelphia loves to have him too. Coming in at number 7, I think outside of Aaron Donald, this guy could arguably the best D lineman in football, and that is Fletcher Cox. He's an absolute beast in the trenches. He's an absolute monster. I mean, if you're not going to double team Fletcher Cox, he's going to get to the quarterback and he's going to sack him. Every single snap last year, I think against the Cowboys or the Giants or the Redskins, I think he was double teamed in almost every snap. And, that's what happens when you're that good of a football player. When you're that much of a beast, that's what happens, is that you have to get double teamed or you're going to get to the quarterback and it's going to be awful for the opposing team. So that's why Fletcher Cox is number 7. I mean, he's an absolute beast. I really shouldn't have to explain why he's number 7, but if you need an explanation, that's your explanation. He's an absolute beast. Coming in at number 6, we have the best catcher in baseball. Don't give me Yasmani Grandal. Don't give me Yadier Molina. Don't give me Buster Posey. Don't give me guys like that. Because JT Realmuto is the best catcher in baseball. Led the league in throwouts. Oh, and by the way, Gary Sanchez is not a catcher. He's a DH. But JT Realmuto is the best catcher in baseball. He led the league in throwouts. He's an absolute beast at the plate. I'm pretty sure he was like 2nd or 3rd in RBIs for the Phillies. He was, up there in home runs with us. And he really took a big step that second half of the year with Bryce Harper, and he was also an all-star. JT Realmuto is the best catcher in baseball, and I don't think there's any argument about it. Now into the top 5. The 5th best Philadelphia athlete, in my opinion, is the captain, Claude Giroux. Number 28 for the Philadelphia Flyers he's the longest tenured Philly athlete. And, this season, before it was stopped, I think the Flyers really had a good shot at winning just because of Claude Giroux. You put him out there, he's going to make plays happen. I mean, the guy can do it all. His vision is filth. His stick handling is filth. His shot, his wrist shot, his power play goals, he's a great hockey player. He's a no doubt about a Hall of Famer. And I think he could really win a Stanley Cup with us in the coming years if we don't continue this season. Or I think Claude Giroux could really be the captain of a Stanley Cup winning team. And I think he was robbed of the MVP trophy. I don't really know what it's called. I think it's like the Hart Trophy or something like that. But he was robbed of that 2 years ago. And, yeah, Claude Giroux, number 5 on my list. Number 4, we have a 6'10" point guard from Melbourne, Australia, number 25, Ben Simmons. The guy is elite. I don't care that he can't shoot, because what else does Ben Simmons do that other players can? He can do it all. He can pass, he can rebound, he's a top 5 defender in the league, if not top 3, if not the best defender in the league. He can guard 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 players on the court at all times. And, he's leading the league in steals at the time. The time being. He's leading the league in steals per game. The guy can get to the rim whenever he wants. And if he gets a jump shot, he's a top 5 player in the league. No doubt about it. Because he is a special talent in this league. And Ben Simmons is the 4th best Philadelphia athlete in my opinion. Coming in at number 3. Carson Wentz. I'm not even going to, stall it or anything like that. It's Carson Wentz. Carson Wentz is a top 3 Philadelphia athlete. And if you don't think he's better than Nick Foles, then I think you are completely wrong. I think Carson Wentz, don't get me wrong. Nick Foles gets a lot of props. He got this city something that nobody else has, and that's a Super Bowl. But hear me out. Carson Wentz is better. He's just a better quarterback. He's just better. Look at the slop that he had last season. Alshon, Aguilar, Greg Ward Jr. Now, it's not like they couldn't catch, but he was making plays that only guys like Patrick Mahomes can make. That throw in the back of the end zone to Miles Sanders against the Redskins, on the run, off 1 foot, an absolute strike right to the back of the end zone, right into Miles Sanders' chest. No other quarterback outside of Patrick Mahomes and Carson Wentz is making that throw. And that is why I think Carson Wentz is not only a top 7 quarterback in the league, but I think he's a top 3 Philadelphia athlete in this city. Coming in at number 2, we have arguably my favorite athlete, if not my favorite athlete. Again, it's like a 1A, 1B type of thing with me on my favorite Philadelphia athletes, which I could make a video on that too. Just let me know. But number 2, we have right fielder Bryce Harper. I love Bryce. The guy brings so much to the table. He loves this city. And, he's a stud. He's an absolute stud. He's 27 years old. He led us in RBIs, home runs. He finished with a 260 batting average. His arm he has an absolute hose for an arm. He throws it. I remember him throwing at Victor Robles from the wall, literally in the warning track, and he literally just throws him out. Only Cody Bellinger and Yasiel Puig, I think, can make that throw. I don't even think Yelich can make that throw. I think Bryce Harper is a very underrated player in baseball itself, but in the city of Philadelphia, he's a top 2 athlete, and I don't think there's any argument about it. I mean, you could, I guess, argue Wentz and him. You could argue those two, but I'm going to give the nod to Bryce Harper. And, I just think Bryce Harper, I just love Bryce, honestly. And number 1, we have number 21, center out of Kansas, Joel the Process Embiid. Not only is Joel Embiid my favorite athlete in Philadelphia, but he is the best. He's the best center in the league. He might not be the best big man in the league. Anthony Davis might have that over him now. But he's the best center in the league. Don't give me Karl Anthony Towns. Don't give me Jokic. He does struggle at times. But nobody's going to go out and drop 30 points a game. He is capable of doing it. I've seen him do it. But nobody's going to do it every game like he is. He's the most dominant center in the league. I think he's a force to be reckoned with. When he gets hot, he's on fire. And I think he's done so much for the city. I think he's the reason why Philadelphia sports has changed so much. I mean, ever since Joel Embiid stepped onto the scene in 2015, Philadelphia sports have taken a flip. They've completely turned their franchises around. Obviously you have Wentz, You have Simmons, you have Harper, you have Giroux, you have Carter Hart. You have these teams now that people don't want to play. We have possibly a legit 4 playoff teams in this city. And I think to start it all off, I think Joel Embiid is the best athlete in the city of Philadelphia. Let me know your top 15. If you think I got any wrong, let me know in the comment section below. Let me know your top 15 players in the city of Philadelphia. Hit that subscribe button. Hit that like button. It really does help grow the channel. You know, we're at 222 subscribers. That was what I wanted my goal to be for yesterday. Let's try to hit 226 today. I know we can do it. Hit that like button. Comment who your 15 best Philly athletes are. And if I got any wrong, let's talk about it. That's what I wanted. Let's talk about it. Top 15 Thursdays. That's what this is going to be called. Thank you all for watching. I'm out. Peace. Hit that subscribe button.